on my computer so we can clean that up overnight. Thank you everybody for jumping in. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber, and we've got a really great program today. League of Extraordinaries is different from other league programs. Our first league meeting was called League of Extraordinaries. That was our first signature event. We continue to do that twice a month, second Tuesdays and final Fridays of the month. And that's mainly focused in on business service providers and having them build out their business referral network. League of Opportunities, which you're in today, spun out of that. It actually came out of Global Chamber Hermosillo, and they suggested, why don't we spotlight some opportunities by our members that are new and refreshing, or maybe it's, since they haven't heard about it yet, it's new to them. So it's only members speaking today. There probably are some non-members who are in the audience, but all the speakers are members. And they typically have 5 minutes of speaking, up to 5 minutes, and another 5 minutes for question and answer. A lot of times what happens is we get kind of wrapped up in the speaking and we end up speaking, up to 10 minutes. Our preference generally is that you keep it to 5, no longer, and let us have some time for questions and some conversation. So we'd like to start today with Casey Watkins of Equals Money. He's got an issue that's starting in about a half hour. The overall program is an hour. So we'd like to go to Casey first. Casey with Equals actually has been a member of Global Chamber for quite a number of years. However, we really haven't done much in the US, and we weren't asked to do it until Casey came on board. And now that Equals is setting up operations in the States, and they've got some really interesting technology and just a fascinating platform, which I've been able to view firsthand, to allow a variety of organizations, including in the entertainment industry, but goes well beyond that into hospitality and others, to be able to control costs. And I really love what you've got, Casey. Would you be able to share a bit of that for us? And then we'll open up the floor for questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. So as Doug mentioned, my name is Casey Watkins, and I'm with Equals Group. We are a London-based fintech. Recently launched some of our products here in the US. Over the last 4 years, we've been slowly rolling them out. We first got started in the US with our international payment solution. So if any of you are working with international suppliers, or you need to send money anywhere in the world, we can help facilitate that and provide bank-beating exchange rates. Our flagship product is our expense management solution. It comes with prepaid MasterCards. So it's basically for anyone who has company expenses. We have an online platform that gives you full transparency into how the cards are being spent. You can pull reports there, export them, and there's also a lot of card controls on the cards themselves. So if you wanted to block merchant codes, like you wanted the cards to not work at liquor stores, or casinos, or anything that doesn't fit what the cards are being used for, you can block those merchant codes. You could turn off ATM access. And if you ever need a new card, we can get them shipped in your hand within 5 business days. So our ideal customers are, as Doug mentioned, we're pretty industry agnostic, but our ideal customers are typically in transportation. So you're thinking aviation, trucking, and marine. We work with a lot of production companies. So we've worked with Netflix and Warner Brothers in the UK, and we've worked with a ton of other smaller companies out here in the US. It's a great alternative to cash, which is big on set. So you can pay your staff, and a lot of them pay their staff in cash, and we can provide the cards. We also work in the music industry, very similar use case, but we work with Rihanna. We help with her tours, and the Rolling Stones. Those are 2 of our bigger clients in the US. But we work with a variety of smaller artists as well. Really, our product is very industry agnostic. So if anyone has company expenses or staff spending on cards and you need a better way to manage that, we could definitely help you out. On top of that, we have recently rolled out a cashback rebate program. It's totally negotiable. We have some clients that are earning up to 2% cash back on their spend. In addition to our products, they're great for the end user, the consumer. But if you are a financial consultant or you have clients that this could be a fit for, we have an affiliate program where if you were to refer us clients, you would be able to earn up to 20% of the revenue that those clients are generating. Yeah, if this sounds like something you're interested in or something that your clients would benefit from, please reach out to Doug and he can help coordinate a meeting with myself and I can show you more.
Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you for not only being very succinct and clear about the offering, but also keeping to the time. I'd like to open up the floor to questions. Ideally, raise your hand, but without that, just feel free to just unmute yourself and go ahead. I see some people that look very interested. So I'm guessing there's some questions out there. What do you think? I see Alexander. Alex, please go ahead.
Well, thanks, Doug and Casey. My name is Alex Devereaux. I'm a management consultant, and I work with companies that have various challenges. And based on the description that you provided us with, it sounds to me like you guys would almost act like a sort of a you monitor expenses, as if the way a large corporation would manage, expenses dispensed by, the various individuals that are traveling, and so it's kind of like having them a sort of like a defined criteria for spending without having to worry about generating an expense report that that has to be scrutinized. The scrutiny is happening up front. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, that's right. So if you had employees who were spending, the way it would work, say they went and took a client to lunch, they'd have their receipt. They could just take a picture of it from our app and upload it right there. They don't have to take that receipt home with them and file an expense report that then has to be reviewed by your finance team.
Right. So and what I'm also seeing here too is that if you have a project, for example, if you're working on a project overseas and you need to have access to funds, which may include purchasing materials in the particular country that you're in, that you could also facilitate that purchase as well.
That's correct. So, I mean, whether you are making that purchase just straight from the platform, like an internet, like if you're making a $20,000 purchase and you needed to send an international payment, you could do it that way. And even with smaller purchases, our cards will work in other countries, I think up to 90 plus countries. Basically, anywhere that accepts MasterCard, our cards will function.
Wow. So it's like having a corporate expense account that's in your pocket.
Exactly.
That, the permissions are already given. And so what happens if you want to purchase something that's necessary, but is not part of the profile of your card? How do you address that?
So we primarily would block merchant codes. So that is something where, say you had an employee who was overseas and they needed to make a vital purchase and it was at a company that maybe we blocked that merchant code, you would just reach out to me directly and I can coordinate removing that block right then and there, and then the card would work fine.
Oh, wow. So it's like having your own CFO or CFO or finance manager where you can get these permissions to use the card above what has already been prescribed,
Yeah, exactly. And say you had an employee traveling as well, and maybe they were low on funds. There's a lot of functionality where they can request a top up and management can approve funds right then and there. There's a lot of different limits and permissions you could add to these cards. It's fully customizable.
Right, including challenges too, where if you have an emergency where you actually have an accident, it could be a hospital, problem with a car accident in another country. And sometimes the exchange rate is an issue. You don't have to deal with exchange rates then.
Yeah, so I mean, our cards, there is an exchange rate. You're going to get pretty close to the market rate, but you're definitely going to get a better deal than if you're using like your own personal bank card.
Yeah, and what I'm
Sounds
saying
good.
is that you don't have to worry about it as the user. You don't have to worry about the exchange rate if you receive funds. It's like receiving a bank card and like whatever money that you have. Like for example, you can work on a project. I've worked on construction projects overseas, and so you may get an expense, you know, for local spending,
Mhm.
and now you need to convert that money to an exchange rate. And the problem is that if you can't find an exchange rate that will accept you know, the currency. Like for example,
Right.
I was in a country where there was a
Hey,
300%.
Alex,
Yes,
and
sorry.
we got to move on, man.
Got it. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's great conversation. I love
Yeah.
the fact that you clarified some of the use cases. We've run out of time. However, Casey, given all of those clarifications, is there anything else you'd like to close with before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that covered our product pretty well. I think the one use case you're talking about with construction companies, a lot of times you're hiring on contractors that aren't necessarily employees of your company, and that is something we can get cards in their hands within 5 days. So for special projects like that, our product is great.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. And hence in the media and entertainment industry as well, lots of different people, they need to have their costs controlled. Those kinds of applications are really great. And a lot of what you've done, you're based in Los Angeles. And so the entertainment industry is pretty near and dear, very close. So it's
Yep, right in my backyard.
Yeah.
well
Let's connect,
positioned.
Casey. Let's connect.
Thank you. Please
That's
feel
it.
free to put your information in the chat area so that everybody knows who you are and how to get a hold of you. If they directly or indirectly have some ideas, please everyone help out Casey. He's doing some great work, and it's a great product. Great progress with it, Casey. Thank you. We'll continue to move around the room and around the world. I encourage all of you to connect up with all of the speakers. They're all members of Global Chamber, so they're all been vetted. We know who they are, and we know and trust them. Our next speaker is someone actually we've known for quite a while, Alex Boom of Hinrich Foundation. I think, Alex, you've at least had one company move that we've known from the Philippines to Singapore, and certainly the Hinrich Foundation is an extraordinary trade-based organization that facilitates trade and helps trade. The founder, who I'm sure you'll talk about, I've had the pleasure and honor to interview on the Global Chamber podcast. If you get a chance, anyone, please feel free if you'd like to learn more about his history with Thunderbird and with trade and with his success, and now extending that success to facilitate more and more people to do trade. Feel free to jump into that on the Global Chamber website. Alex, what would you like to share today? Thank you for joining us today, early morning in Singapore.
Yep. Thank you, Doug, and good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'll just give me a second to share my screen here. And what I'd like to share with you today is a product that we've recently launched called the Hinrich Foundation Guide to Master's Programs in International Business and Trade. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, we got it.
Yep, great, super. So
there's a block off to the right side that's dark. That's
that is, is that better?
It's smaller. Yep. Oh, now
okay. Great. Thank you, Doug. Thanks for the introduction. Hinrich Foundation, Merle Hinrich is the founder of this. He founded a company in Hong Kong in 1970, which was a trade facilitation. Started out with magazines, moved into online B2B platform, and then into very large scale trade shows. So his company, him and his team were really instrumental in helping drive the growth of trade in Asia from the 70s up until the present. I'm here to talk to you from the Hinrich Foundation perspective. And the foundation, we're officially been in place for 12 years. We did a lot of philanthropy prior to that. Our focus is trade research and trade education. The trade research, we have a host of thought leadership materials ranging from the US-China trade war, WTO, digital trade, trade and technology, and more. I'm in charge of the trade education program, and I'll share with you our latest product that we've launched in that area. But we're really looking at building an ecosystem of global trade leaders. So the issue is, as you know, global trade is extremely complex. Trade skills must be taught, they must be learned, and how to identify, for those that are interested, quality master's programs in international trade. We have a huge commitment in terms of cost and time. So how to find the best program. So for your staff of your firms, their question would be to can they accelerate their trade career with a master's programs? And for owners, you'll be looking at how can you develop and recruit talent through a master's programs, and to recruit those people from a program that have work-ready trade skills. So we've been developing this solution. Actually, it comes from decades of work as an employer. And we've also worked with employer partners to develop programs, companies such as VF Corp, which is the North Face. We've got Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, DHL, Intel, and a host of SME employers that we have experience with. We've been running scholarship programs for decades, and we have a robust, active, and growing alumni community. So we're engaged with those that have gone through the education process and are working in trade today. We've also developed a Master of Global Trade program together with the RMIT University out of Australia in their Ho Chi Minh City campus. And we worked with QS to develop the first ever international trade ranking. So this is what has really brought us to where we are today, that background that's an employer-focused background on developing to help people, guide them to identify the best master's programs for their career in international business and trade. So what we've come up with is the guide. And we have, you see on the left here, the PDF, which is freely available on our website. And we've got everything, of course, is interactive on the site itself. So really helping students find the program, as we said, to develop that next generation of global trade leaders, to build that ecosystem. And, you know, what is the top program that I can study at? Now, in going into this, we have an advisory panel of business leaders as well as academic leaders that have helped guide us to this to make sure that it's practical and on point. So the content, we help students understand why would they want a master's degree and a career in international trade. We talk about program criteria. There's 6 trade course content areas that we believe the students need to have to be productive in a trade career, as well as there's 8 criteria, attributes that a program should have to prepare the students. To help students when they're doing their evaluation, what questions should they ask themselves and get the information from the universities. We offer exemplar programs of examples of great programs, guidance on careers in trade. You know, what are the possibilities? What are the options here? And then some trade resources. So I've touched on the evaluation tools. The core of that really are the trade course content areas and the program attributes. We have the exemplar programs, and I'll just touch on this. We have 20 programs, and we're not saying these are the best in the world, the top, they're the only ones. We're saying these are examples. So you may or may not be able to go to one of these programs, but for example, if you need to study in the Jakarta area, you can refer to these programs and say, this is what I should look for in these programs. So you may wish to study if you can, or you just use this as a guide to help you identify what makes an outstanding program. Lastly, the trade resources, they're available for use now. We currently have 30,000 educators that are using them regularly, and we have many more than that of trade practitioners in the business using this every day to help with their business and their understanding of complexities of international trade. My ask to you today, urgent, is have a look at the guide. It's at the Heinrich Foundation. Download it, use it, Please share it with your staff and colleagues and your networks. We'd like to get this as broad as possible. It's entirely free. The trade resources, I trust that they can help you with your business, and we would love to hear your feedback. So that's it for me this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Thank you very much. I'd love to have any questions.
Amazing. And so how do we get to the link? That was
HeinrichFoundation.com. I realized that I needed that across the bottom, but HeinrichFoundation.com, and it's right in there on our website.
fantastic. Thank you very much. What questions do people have? What other questions do people have? Please go ahead. I thought I saw Pauline. I don't know, Pauline, if you're available to make any comment, but given your background, deep background in trade and working across countries, are you familiar with Heinrich Foundation? Is this your first exposure, or have you been involved in the past?
Yeah, no, this is my first exposure. It's very interesting, Alex. And are you based in Singapore?
Yes.
Yeah, I lived in Malaysia for 4 years, so I know that part of the world.
It's lovely.
But it's very interesting, and yeah, I'd love to connect with you because mine is all about how people affect trade. So all about the people dynamics of leadership and conversation, and also the cross-cultural bit, because obviously as a Brit, I live in America, I lived in Malaysia, I went to Singapore, you know what it's about. So do you find people are very good at cross-cultural thing, or do you find most people just they go in like a bull in a china shop?
Thank you. It's of critical importance, and that this is one of the trade course content areas that we're looking at are these soft skills, and that's it was quite interesting when we were developing the master's program. Before we did a workshop with the employers. We had a whole host of subjects and topics that they could put into the course, and we were sort of guessing before we went in what they would want to include, and the soft skills were extremely important, and they made it actually into the course. So that cross-cultural and soft skills were critical, and I know the employers are looking for those skills because they're more and more critical today, and not just for someone like yourself that lived around, but we all have to deal with people no matter where we are. So it's of critical importance.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a longer conversation about that, Alex.
Love to. Thank you.
I'll put my details in the column, and I'll take yours.
Thank you.
Christina Wachter, who was on the book author program yesterday, is another cross-cultural expert, and she works at my alma mater at University of Utah. So in addition, so thank you, Christina, for joining today. And
sorry, I can't join by video.
No worries. Just wanted to say hi, and I'm glad you're now connected to the Heinrich Foundation if you hadn't before.
I am too. Thank you.
Hi, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
We're good.
Good to see you or hear you.
Thank you both. In closing, Alex, could you just briefly say your involvement with Heinrich Foundation? When did you join? What keeps you there? And then are there any other last comments that you'd like to make?
Thank you. I have been working with Mr. Heinrich for 34 years. It's rather rare these days, but I started with his company, Global Sources, out of Hong Kong and around the region. And at one point, he asked me if I'd like to be involved with his philanthropy, which I jumped at, and I've been doing that for nearly 20 years. And it's been an amazing journey. And I just say that Mr. Heinrich sold the company a few years ago, and he believes that the benefits of trade to humanity, to society, are extremely important. And so he's dedicating all of his time now in the foundation to continuing to advance sustainable and mutually beneficial global trade. So if anyone would like to participate with us, give me a shout. Thank you very much. Thanks, Doug.
Amazing. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's continue to go around the room, and actually not too far from Singapore to the Philippines. I think maybe Gene, you may be there. Gene Sute of Offshore Done Right. Where are you today? And then also let us know more about what you guys are up to. We're very strong and deep believers in finding talent and resources anywhere that it might be in the world and finding ways to make that work. Technology is facilitating that, and you've been able to do a great job with that, with talent out of the Philippines. Please let us know more. Thank you, Gene.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gene, CTO of ODR Global. ODR standing for Offshore Done Right. And I have about an hour presentation here, but I'm going to condense this into 5 minutes. So let me start my let me start my stopwatch here just to keep me on track, because
And go.
for an hour. Right. Okay, I'd like to focus on our AI solutions. Right now, our main focus is providing customized AI solutions, specialized in either private cloud or on-premise deployments. And our expertise are taking cutting-edge technologies, AI technologies, to address specific business needs effectively, with security, efficiency, and scalability. A quick dive into some of the problems that companies face. Sometimes there's not enough process or not enough advanced process that could really benefit from automation. In a quick use case here, we could come in and look at an 8-person operations teams that run 24/7, 365, that digests, manually extracts 27 bits of data from rough text template emails from around the world, from different people, different languages, different computer capabilities, with an A through G template. So they get a lot of varied information. Now, we are able to transform that, cutting 80 to 90% of their focus on manual intelligent data entry, and they're able to focus that talent to other parts of the company, and that effectively that's about $17,000 a month US in payroll that they can refocus. Something else AI is really good at is handling very large volumes of data, to transform them into extensive data sets. This could be JSON for immediate database entry, or it could be some other format of transformation that you're looking for. And then the management of confidential data. Let's say you're a biotech company with 45 years of engineering reports, and your existing engineering team does simple database queries to try to find work that's already been done before, maybe 22 years before, for example. And they're just not able, because your data volume is so extensive and it's so tedious doing database searches, that it's just not, you're not getting the full potential out of your data or your team members using it. So imagine an AI that's trained with your 45 years of data on premise in your own data center, and it could give you not only comprehensive, intuitive results, but it also results with synergy from parallel areas of your engineering expertise. Okay, moving along. How we're doing this? Pretty much we're putting in the Gradio Web UIs with Python pipelines in the background, with multiple large language models and specializing in different tasks. All of this together gives you private data handling, where you can load your sensitive data securely from a vector database when the AI server starts. So it's already, when it spins up, it already has the knowledge of your internal company. And the biotech company use case, 45 years of engineering report data could already be loaded, and the AI be aware of that. On-demand uploads. So if you're working on the fly, as your engineers create new reports, they could be uploaded into an upload pipeline for this AI, and within minutes digested in the vector database and ready for the AI to speak to them. And then summarization. Imagine a 300-page scientific PDF that you really need condensed into something concise. We have a couple LLMs here for summarization. One would take it would first summarize all 300 pages, and then it would pass it through a second large language model that summarized all the summarizations. So in total, you'd get a very small, concise document out of that. And there's 2 different deployments that we're looking at. The cost of GPU servers it is very expensive, and this could be a blocker for small and sometimes even medium companies. So we're offering a private cloud solution. We're a company that does not share your data with anyone. This is your data. This is your privacy. For those that can't afford to set up their own GPU servers on premise. And then, of course, the other solution is on premise. I'll show up at your data center. We'll order the hardware. I'll set it all up for you. And then you know everything is secure. It's within your own network. Okay, moving on here. I've got 20 seconds. Some of the things that we can handle, comprehensive team outsource and integrated technology consultancy. For one client on this consultancy, we took 25-year-old C code desktop pastel colored application, and we turned it into a HD satellite imagery layered web application. So we really brought them into the future with their 2,000 plus client base there. Also engineering, software engineering. Whatever the project is, whatever the language is, we can put the team together to handle this for you. And then, you know, if you need a website there. Okay, we're at 30 seconds over. So I'll share these slides with anyone who wants. This is a little bit of our process. Here are the friendly faces you'll likely speak with, CTO, and then our Director of Business Development, and our lead on BDM. And a couple of testimonials from clients. And okay, I'll stop there. Q&A.
Okay, just a quick, just basic question is, who are your best clients for this solution?
My best clients would be small to medium companies that don't have a good understanding of what AI can do, that don't have deep pockets to pay for the large commercial solutions from Google, from Amazon, from OpenAI's ChatGPT offering. And we can have a consultation, and we can identify, we can look at your pain points. You know, what's tedious, what takes a lot of man hours, what could use automation, what could use an intelligent oversight to add efficiency and save you money. And you don't need to understand AI for this. You just need to understand your own pain points, and we can get into a discussion, and I can relay different options that we have for enhancing this process or these pain points and making them better with embracing AI technology.
Okay. What other questions do people have, please? And it might be better to remove the slide or unless it has some contact information. Just everybody make sure that you're aware of offshoredoneright.com and that they're got that on LinkedIn and a variety of other locations. Does anybody have any questions, please? So just unmute yourself and go ahead. You mentioned about Elsie, and I see Elsie is here. So Elsie, thank you for the work that you're doing. Are you also in the Philippines? Where are you based?
Yes, I am also in the Philippines right now.
Okay. Well, which is great. So thank you for sharing that. Emmy is also connected to ODR, and Emmy is here in the U.S. So Emmy, are you still in Florida? What's your involvement with the firm, and is there anything else you'd like to add to what Jean mentioned?
Yeah, certainly. I am still residing in Florida, and with the Global Chamber, I have a kind of long connection with them. Yes, I am actually working with a LC and in the BD department as well. So I know we're trying to divide and conquer. So for any US clients that wanted to have a consultation, I'd be more than happy to get your requirements and also discuss with Jean and have some further technical, requirements and so forth. So feel free to contact me and Elsie and Jean. I actually posted my email address on the chat. So I look forward to speaking with you guys at some point. So.
You've been involved with AI for quite a while, even before we knew how to spell it.
Yes, I've been also doing the AI-powered social listening tool as well, which is actually based in UK organizations, and it's also with the GC involvement that also took off quite some time now. So I've been with AI for about six years, I think, around that time. So
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Emmy. Any other questions, please? And hearing none. Jean, thank you. Did you say where you're based? Are you in the Philippines right now?
Yes, we're in Iloilo in the Philippines right now.
Okay, fantastic. Or is there anything else that you would like to share in closing, please?
No, I'll go ahead and post our contact information in the chat here. And I do have a lot of more information on different use cases that I wasn't able to get to in the brief 5 minutes. So if anyone does have any questions and wants a more deeper comprehensive answer, go ahead and ping me in chat or send me an email.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for sharing. Let's continue to go around the room and the world. And next, Roberto Jimenez Ramos of Altiplano. Altiplano, but I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but I'll bet you know how to pronounce it. Appreciate you stopping by, Roberto. Let us know more about your offering and what's new, and so that we can know more and ask some questions. Where are you based, and how would you like to start, please?
Of course, thank you very much, Doug. I'm based in Mexico City, and what we have is an architectural design office that we have it after pandemic. We just went online, and we have this office that is attending basically business all over the world. And it's very interesting for us to become a member of Global Chamber. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you our presentation.
Okay, and while we're waiting for that, I encourage all of you, if you just have like a first name, to put in your full name and also your company name. Feel free to do that as well, so we can find you on LinkedIn and things like that. And then when Roberto's finished, we'll open up the floor because I don't see our fifth speaker here yet. So we'll probably just open up the floor and do kind of a rapid fire for members. Any luck, Roberto?
I'm not finding where to share.
Are you on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop, yes.
Okay, there should be a big green button that says share screen right at the bottom, right in the middle, at least on.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Oh, okay. The other buttons are white. There you go.
Okay, so okay, what I'm going to share is how we designed, what we believe in, and it's going to take a couple of minutes. So, but buildings, we use buildings we design are not objects that are isolated in space, and they are not like perfect volumes floating or just lying on a perfect surface, but they are surrounded by a physical context, and they are surrounded by events that happen in a determined place. And this context can be natural or built, or it can be a mix of both. For example, in this case, we can see how this model is being used to study what is going on around this building, that it's an exposition building. And there are certain number of stories that these buildings have. And there's this other volume, much higher volume in front of this urban plaza. And there's some housing back there, no? So all of that is happening in a determined place. It's not just something that happens without anyone acknowledging it. So when we are designing, there are several ways to make these buildings relate to its context. One is just like not taking into account, just to do it casually, and just not seeing what makes each site unique. And there may be some other way that is just totally disregarding what is going on around the buildings. It can challenge, a building can arrive and challenge what is going on around it. And for example, this building that is a building done by a famous architect, actually, for me, in my opinion, is totally irrespectful of what it is going on there. This building to the left has been standing there for at least 200 years, and there are some other important contexts right back there. But this is irreversible. If this building is going to look dated in 30 years more, and there's no going back. I mean, these buildings have already been affected for life. So we believe in a third way, and that is considering all the factors that affect the environment. And these factors, the more evident are the physical ones. And these physical factors could be natural. So there's climate, there's sunlight exposure. We better take into account how the sun is falling over our building. There's rainfall, we don't want any flooding. There's topography, is not the same to work with a slope or with just a flat piece of land. And there's this built physical environment, this context that has been evolving for a number of years, probably hundreds of years. And these are neighboring buildings. These are vehicle and pedestrian flows. These are all the dynamics that are just taking place in the area. There are common construction materials. For example, there are some regions where stone or wood or mud is being used, and that is for some reason. And the same happens with these construction techniques. So, for example, this is a building we designed some years ago, and this is a historic building. This is in the heart of a very traditional zone in Querétaro, and that is a state near Mexico City. And this is the oldest building in Querétaro. So we just decided to create a dialogue between the new and the existing, and take into account the slope, for example, that the street has. And everything has to be adapted. This is actually a UNESCO context site. It's protected by law. So apart from the physical context, we find that there is cultural, economic, legal, there's politics to take into account, of course, religion. There's a history that has been taking place in that precise site. And of course, there are social issues that have to be taken into account. So this is, for example, a children's museum we proposed a number of years ago, and we were careful with the scale of the building just to be kind to the user, so that the children could feel comfortable there. And just to finish, what is undeniable, our conclusion is that if you take into account everything that is going on in these sites, what is for sure is that the building is going to perform better. It's going to be more adapted to the conditions of that particular site. It's going to fulfill its function more effectively, and more important, is going to provide a better return on the investment. So we totally advocate this kind of designing. And for example, we proposed as well this building in Querétaro, and You could ask what is going on with this building. I mean, it's not related to its site, and it is because each of these there's another building missing to the right. These are 3 towers. Each one is facing one. This building is sitting on top of this elevation in Querétaro, so each building is facing directly towards one important site in Querétaro. So that is the way we could make this location unique for this building. So are there any questions?
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. So the context of this is what? That is it really presenting the firm? And are you looking for clients, and where would those clients be? Maybe give us a little bit more contextual, because it's fascinating, and the concept of bringing that all together to bring design in a way that seems really unique. But tell us more about then the application of it, and how can we help you?
Thank you very much, Doug. Yes. Well, yes, I am looking for clients, and we have been working a lot with government offices, but with large corporations as well. That is very interesting for us. So, yeah, we like to deal with large, complex problems, actually. So, that is what I'm looking for in Global Chamber, and I am presenting actually the company, and I am presenting as well, since this is the first time I present something on Global Chamber. I want to know how we think and how we work.
Fantastic. What on these larger problems, where would they typically be? Do they need to be in Querétaro, or what's kind of the regional scope of what
That
you're
is a very good question. That is an excellent point. Actually, if you are going to build something, you need to be in the place. But if you are going to design something, you can be located wherever, and we just need to go to the place and to understand the dynamics that are going on there. And after that, we can just go and design this building anywhere in the world. So yeah, these problems and these solutions could be provided all over the world.
Fantastic. Where have you had experience so far?
Well, I've been working in the States. I work in there's a building we did for China, and there's these other buildings for Europe. So yeah, we have been doing a little bit of that all over. Of course, mainly in Mexico and all over Mexico. But as I say, you can provide design all over the place.
Fantastic. Great information. Querétaro, the state of Querétaro is extraordinary and great historical value. So thank you for sharing. Does anybody have any questions, please? Yes, Alex.
Hi, Roberto.
Hi.
This is Alex Devereaux. I have a background in structural engineering, so I like looking at these structures, obviously. And but what I do have a question about is, do you involve yourself with design build of the project? And to
no,
what extent?
actually, we are a design firm. Yeah, the build part we leave it to contractors.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. And is it mainly buildings, only buildings, or is there more to it than that, like communities and regions and things like that?
No, I mean, to say buildings is to just say like the generic thing, but it can be whatever. It can be
Got it.
residential. It can be it depends, and it varies greatly. And we've done basically all the different themes inside architecture.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? I don't see anyone's, so I think we'll just keep moving. And given that we have like 3 or 4 minutes, so we don't have very much time. So does anybody have any comments or questions about what was said today? Do you have something that you need help with or would like to share? We've probably only got like a minute for each person, but please go ahead if you do have something. And thank you, Denise and Jim and Pauline and others who are here today. And Christina, we talked earlier today. And hearing none, that's fine. It's all good. So the next part 2 of Global Chamber League of Extraordinaries, actually League of Opportunities, sorry, is in, let's see, it's in 15 hours. So part 2 comes in 15 hours. So we do 2 of these back to back, but split by 15 hours. It's 8 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So pretty late in Asia, sorry, but that's one of the reasons why we do this one that's early in Asia and capture some of India and that side of Asia for tomorrow. So thanks everybody for joining today. This was a very busy day at Global Chamber. I think we had 6 events. We actually have at least 1 or 2 still going on around the world that are in-person events. Definitely events are important and we need to get connected both virtually and in person. But the most valuable thing that we offer is the ability to connect up through warm introductions. And so if there's ever any need, and I think Rutherford was here earlier. Oh, there he is. Rutherford was here and I got your email. So I'll make those 2 connections for you. So thank you for your leadership, recently joining the Global Chamber Phoenix Advisory Board and the particular interest that you have, we're happy to help with. Thanks, everybody. Oh, you bet.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thanks,
evening or morning
Bye.
or day and weekend. Take care. Thanks, Alex, for your questions. Appreciate it.